Good morning. How are we today? Nice bright day today. Sun's out, but we're still indoors. Yeah. So how are we? Great to see some of you give some likes. Post in the comments. Good morning. How are you? Today is a bright day out. It's great to be alive at this time, even though it seems that, life's a bit bleak, and we're all stuck indoors and we're not sure when this stuff's going to end. But, it's good to still be here, still be about. How is everybody? I'm aching from yesterday's bike ride, 35 miles. If you're able to still donate for the bike ride yesterday, the link is just going across your screen. And yeah, if you're able to help the food bank at all, then please do. I slept so well last night. It was unreal. Like, I just went to bed and conked out, and my legs are still killing. My back is hurting, but I'm alive and it's all good. Could you post a comment, say hello this morning? How are we? It'd be nice to see who's watching. I'm just going to start us off. Hello, how's everybody? Great to have some interaction with you guys. I'd love to get to know you a bit more. Yeah, that'll be great. And then in a minute, I'll get us started on this week's story of hope. So stay tuned, stay in. It's great. Hope you got your coffee ready or your tea. Again, I'm on the green tea. Helps to keep awake when my body wants to go back to sleep. But we'll get there. I've got a nice big lunch planned for myself. I think I'm gonna get some chicken, some chips, some Yorkshire puddings, a bit of a roast. I think is what's needed to start repairing the body from yesterday's bike ride. If you weren't about yesterday and you were maybe busy with the family, I did a bike ride. I rode 35 miles live online to just raise money for our food bank. If you're able to donate, even if it's £5, it'll be great. The link is going across the bottom of the screen. So it'd be good to get some support, some help. Why don't you say hello this morning? It'd be great to see who's here. Speak to you guys. Post in the comments. Hello, how you doing? Love to know who's about. Be good. Bit of social interaction, which is, I think, what we're all craving right now. Bit of social interaction. Also did the family quiz night again last night. That was good. It was a good laugh. My family won, which was good. So it was against my aunts and my cousins, and all online, all on Zoom, and we won. So that was good. It's good. So yeah, how are we today? It'd be great to get some interaction. Say hello. Be good. How are you? How's your Sunday going? Is it a crazy Sunday, or is it nice and relaxed? Maybe the kids are still in bed, and you're having a nice little quiet time to yourself. Maybe you're not. Maybe your kids are up and running about, going absolutely mental, and you're just wondering how to get through another day in lockdown. Has anyone left their house yet? That's what I'd love to know. Has anyone left their house? If you have, why don't you say? Put it in the comments. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to get us on our way and get us going. So if you've got any comments or anything, please do post them. I'd love hearing from you guys. It's great. So please do post a comment. You lot are quite quiet this morning, which is unusual. But, you know, maybe we're all a bit tired of what's going on. Right. So last Sunday, we were all waiting for good old Boris Johnson to basically tell us that we were free. I think that was everybody's hope. You know, we're all kind of hoping for that. We're all kind of hoping that the restrictions would pass a bit, and that we would be able to kind of go back to some sort of normality. Well, essentially what happened was we got a message about staying alert. And also, we also got told that if we could go to work, then do so. If you can't work from home, that was a bit confusing. I saw the news headlines and pictures the next day. Morning, Alan. How you doing? I saw the news headlines and pictures next day, and there was just loads of people on the central line, and there was no social distancing whatsoever. And you know, like I did facepalm. I did one of these. I was like, oh no. And you kind of like, we've all stayed locked down for so long, and we all don't want to mess this up, and we all don't want to put stress on the NHS, and we all don't want to do those things. And so it was quite a surprise to see that. And essentially, everybody rushed back to work. Now I think lockdown has turned into this, and I could be wrong, but this is my observation. Now people are going to work that weren't working before or couldn't work from home. So now lockdown has turned into working, lockdown at home at the weekend, can't do anything with anybody, and then back to work, which essentially has kind of, morning Carol, has kind of turned into worse than what we had it before. At least before, we were all locked in our houses and we were relaxing, we were gardening, we were painting, we were doing all these little jobs around the house. And yeah, we got to the weekend and we're still locked down. Except now we kind of have to leave our houses and go to work, and then we don't get to, morning Colette, we don't get to enjoy our time, our recreation time around the weekends. You know, the only thing you can still do is either go to the park, but then you've got a social distance, and you can go food shopping. Whoop-de-doo. And it's really like right now, it's quite an annoying time. I don't like to use the word depressing time, because I think it's a bit too much to put on this time. I think it's annoying because, you know, you go to work and you work hard to play hard, don't we? That's what we do. We work hard to play hard. We go to work to earn the money, to go out maybe around the weekends, go out with our family, go to lunches, and, you know, help, you know, see our family and things like that. And we're not getting to do that right now. Instead, the advice was stay alert, and if you could go to work, go to work. So it was a bit confusing. And essentially, that's kind of affected us all. It's affecting us because we're like, well, how do you stay alert when you can't see a virus? Like, and I saw so many memes over Facebook. It was unreal. And it was so funny. Again, the boycott action group. Oh, Carol, I'm sorry. The boycott action group had some great memes in it again. And yeah, there was some good banter. But, you know, this is our life for now. And hopefully on this Boris timeline, it will get a bit easier. But I did read yesterday in the news that the infection rate has gone back to 1. So we could end up reversing back down into lockdown again. Who knows? But what I want to do from a perspective of this is give you guys some hope, help you guys out, you know, give you some hope, and tell you that actually there is a bit more to life than just this. And so where I'm going to begin this week is, so our reality is this. We're all in our houses. like it or not, even if you're going to work, you still have to come home and you can't really do anything. Or there's some of us shielding because we can't go and interact with others right now in case we get the virus. So we're all in our houses. And life is kind of getting a bit boring. Like, I did get bored the other day. I had quite a bit of work to do. And if I'm honest, I didn't get a lot of it done because, like, mentally, I just didn't feel like it. I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm stuck at home and I don't, yeah. And I'm stuck at home and basically, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go out. I love the thing I like doing is I like going to the cinema and I like walking by the seafront. And I love getting in my car, driving down from Rayleigh to the seafront, either Leigh-on-Sea or wherever. And I love going for those walks and spending some time outside. And yeah, right now we're not really getting to do that. I also like going out for dinners with my wife and living that sort of life a bit, and we're not getting to do that. We're all kind of stuck in these houses, and some of them are really nice. Some of them have actually started to look a lot better than before the lockdown because we're all doing our repairs and our painting and filling our time. But then it got me thinking, and again, this is about a story in the Bible. And essentially, there was a guy called David in the Bible, and he was running from a guy called Saul. So Saul was trying to kill David because he was jealous of him. And there's a point in this whole story where David ends up in a cave, right? And he's shielding in the cave, and he's there for like weeks, maybe a few months on end, and he can't leave the cave because if he leaves the cave, Saul's army is going to come out and kill him. Well, he's got him and his family stuck in a cave. Now, you know, we're all in our houses, but David had a cave, and it was a bit worse. Like, he had to sleep on the floor. There was no comfort at all, and so essentially, David is stuck there for a while, until he comes to this point in his life and he just cries out, oh Lord, will you help me? Which, let's be quite honest, some of us are just crying that out right now. Like, Lord, will you just help me get out of this situation? Will you help our country get past this time? And, you know, and so we can relate to David a bit. And essentially what happens is Saul chases David for a long time and he tries to kill them at all these different opportunities. And David ends up moving from one cave to another, and he builds up an army, and essentially Saul dies and David lives, and then David does get to become king. Woo! And there is a positive ending to this. Now, the point of all this is that David found his hope in the Lord. And he called out to God, and God delivered him and delivered his justice and helped him. Now, in a space and where we are right now as a society, as an individuals, is that sometimes I mention the Bible, and I've looked through the statistics after doing this for a few weeks. And when I say the word Bible, viewers drop off. Like, so we were at 10 people watching, now we're at 4. And if you're running any sort of online thing, the thing you don't want to be mentioning is the word Bible. But I base a lot of my life on it, and I think it's great. Now, let me tell you why this is helpful to you today. And I've got a great analogy. So this week's story of hope. The Bible is essentially like this. Now, I've got a car, right? And recently it had to go in for its MOT. It had to go in for its repairs and this, that, and the other. Now, I could have done this 2 ways. I could have looked it up on YouTube and got rid of the mechanic part of it and did the repairs myself. I have no experience in repairing a car. I have no experience in taking things apart in a car. I have some technical experience with computers. Maybe that might help me. And I can work my way around YouTube and I can figure things out. So say if I wanted to, I don't know, replace the engine from petrol to gas, because gas is somewhat cheaper than petrol to buy. So I decide to follow a few YouTube videos, and I'm not going to pay for a mechanic because I reckon I can do it with YouTube videos. So I take the mechanic out of the equation, and then I start replacing this engine, and I put a new engine in the car, and you know, I switch the car on. It takes me hours upon hours of work, but it's my time. I'm not paying someone else's. I'm saving money, and that's fine. So I switch the car on, and it starts working. Well, now I decide to go out in this car. You know, it's like I've got a brand new car because I've done this myself. You know, when you do something yourself, and the pride and the greatness that you get from doing it yourself, you're like, yes, get in. Well, that's how I'm feeling right now. So I'm starting the car and I'm leaving the house. Well, I go about 10 miles down the road and the car just stops working. So I get my tools out of the boot and I start tinkering around and I'm fixing it again, right? And I get it working again. So we carry on our journey a little bit more, and I go fill up the car now with gas because now it's cheaper than petrol. So instead of spending lots of money on petrol, I'm spending less money and filling up my car with gas. And now I've managed to get the car going for a bit, but it keeps every day. It starts, but it breaks down, and I'm having all these problems. It's really confusing. And it's starting to annoy me, and I'm not really seeing too clearly with this car. In fact, I'm blaming the car instead of myself. I'm blaming the car because I'm saying it's the car's fault, not the fact that I did it and I'm not a mechanic and I'm not experienced or have the technical know-how. No, I've forgotten about that. I'm now blaming the car. So I'm saying, oh, this car, it's ridiculous, it's not working, blah, 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 blah. And it gets to the point where I take the car to the mechanic, right? And I say to the mechanic, like, what can I do? How can this be fixed? I kind of tell him the story, and I kind of say like a little bits and pieces, but I don't tell him everything. I don't say I've replaced the whole engine. I just say I bought it secondhand and I got it like that because I don't want to look stupid, right? So, and he ends up going through it and then finds that actually it's not working at all, and it's going to cost me a lot more money than if I just brought it to him in the first place. So essentially I've ended up with a car like this. There you go. So I've ended up with a car where stuff isn't working. And here's the reality of our lives, okay? And I've been doing this a while now, a few weeks, and I've noticed that, like I said, when I mention the Bible, I mention God, people stop listening. And it's essentially like we've gone so far, so long, and removed God from the equation, okay? So we're not really like David in our story. When he's gone to the cave, he's still calling out for God in his dire moments. He's saying, God, will you help me? We're not doing that. As a society, we're not doing that. We still think we can fix this on our own. Now, a lot of people have said to me in this time, if there is a God, why is there this virus? Well, here's the thing. When you remove the mechanic from the equation, you get a broken engine. As a country, we've removed the mechanic from the equation. So now we've ended up with leadership that isn't right. We've ended up with people that don't follow things that should be done. We've ended up with a lot of greed, and we've ended up with a lot of corruption, okay? And all this time, like, I hear this also on a regular occasion. I'm a good person, so I'll go to heaven. And that's not how this works. Because if you were a good person, you wouldn't end up down this road of where we are right now, because everybody says they're a good person. Even if you're a bad person, you tell people you're a good person, right? And we do these acts of charity, and we don't really do it for anybody. We kind of do it for ourselves because it makes ourselves feel better, right? Well, when we've got to this point in our society and now in our life, and we're all staying alert and we're staying at home and we're all in a confused state, we've now got an engine in a car that's not working. We've now got an engine in our life that isn't really working. And I'm not sure what it's going to take people to put God in his rightful place. I'm not sure what it's going to take to put God where he truly deserves, right? So as Christians, as people, we worship different things, right? I know a lot of people that go to the gym when it's open, and they worship the gym. They go every day. They're working out. They're getting their bods good. They're doing all these things, yeah. And then I know a few more people that do yoga, and they're doing all this yoga and feeling good about themselves. And then I know a few more people that just do some exercise, and they go running, and that's all good too. And I know a few more people that earn quite a bit of money, and that's all good because they buy things, and that all, that kind of fills this void that we've put here because we've removed the mechanic from the equation. So we're going and we're working out at the gym. We're doing exercise. We're doing yoga. We're earning lots of money to fill this void that we've put here, right? And here's the thing. These things, and this is something that these people won't ever tell you. These are like band-aids, yeah? You're just putting a band-aid over the problem each time you go and do this. Like yesterday, I did my 35-mile bike ride and I completed the goal and I felt like a king. I was like, get in, right? And it's a bit like that when you're working out and you're doing all these things, but it's only for a period of time. It doesn't sustain you through something that we're experiencing as a society. It doesn't sustain you through these long-term storms. All it does is put a band-aid on the problem. And then what you have to do is you have to go back to the gym. You have to go back to yoga. You have to go back to getting money. And when those things are removed from us, and these are the things in lockdown, these things have been removed. The gym's been closed. Some of us have lost the job, so we're not earning that money. Some of us are getting so bored that we don't want to do yoga. And some of us haven't been able to run long distances because we've been locked down. So these four things have been removed. And this is why you're now finding it difficult to continue, to keep going. And this is why I've been doing these online things every week for the past 4 or 5 weeks to try and show you that there is something more to life. Because right now, our lives are like this picture, the car with the engine outside of it, and us being the mechanic to try and get it fixed. When this is not how it was ever designed. The mechanic that designed this life never designed it this way. He designed it completely different, right? He designed it so that we would put him into the space where he deserves. So we would put him into that void of how life works, yeah? We would fill the void with him. But we refuse to do that. And I've been in this town, in this space a long time now, and I speak to a lot of people around this space. And none of them are really that interested in trying to get to know God. And none of them are that interested in trying to get to know Jesus. What they do is they've heard about it, but they don't want to put it in. Because when you ask someone to change their life, it's a long process. And that's all fine. But all you're going to end up with is a car broken. And it's not really going to work. And the longer that this goes on, right, the longer that this time goes on, the worse it's going to start feeling. So I know, because I do a lot of reading, I know a lot of us are feeling anxious. I know a lot of us are feeling stressed. I know a lot of us are worrying, and rightly so. Our lives have been stripped from us. Our freedom, if you like, has been taken from us. We can only go and do certain things. We're worried about our jobs, whether they're still going to be there at the end of all of this. We're being, some of us have been furloughed and we're being paid, and then you're watching the TV and experts are coming out saying you're furloughing people where jobs no longer exist anymore. And when you're hearing things like that, you start worrying, you start feeling quite anxious, you feel anxious for yourself, your family. And we've taken out big mortgages for houses, and we've started, having to pay those sorts of things. And all these things are starting to mount up on us. Well, the exercise, the gym, the yoga, and the money isn't going to fix that, right? None of that is. None of it's going to get us through this storm. What is going to fix that is a relationship with God. Because if we go back to David in his cave, he knew this the most. If you were to ever read the Bible, I would say read the book of Samuel, right? 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel. It doesn't take long. It'll take you about half an hour, maybe. And you will see a guy in this Bible, in this book, that knows God so well and has a relationship with God. And you can kind of see that as the book goes on. Now I'm going to get to this bit. What's the point, right? Some of us have heard about this a lot of times. Some of us wonder if any of this is true. And we kind of think that the Bible was made so long ago. How is it applicable to today, right? How does it help? Well, let me get on to this. And I'm going to give you an example of how my life and how this works, okay? So this week, like every day, this is my morning devotional Bible. It's quite thick. Not all Bibles are this thick. You can get them quite thin. It's just this one, you can journal in it and write all over it and things like that. So I think, yeah. So like here, for example, I'm not sure if you can see that, but I write all over it, and I use it on the way that God is speaking to me. Okay. And I read it from that context. I read about these great stories and I take what is applicable to myself. Yeah. So, and this is the hope for you right now. Okay. Because Boris Johnson said, stay alert, but none of this is actually going to get any easier. Okay. When you listen to his timeline a few times, you actually think, whoa, there is a lot of hurdles that us as a country have to jump over. Right. And that us as a country have to jump over. Yeah. So therefore, we're finding this difficult to get through. Now, here's how I view it. There's verses like this in the Bible where it says, never can a mother forget her nursing child. Can she feel no love for the child she has borne? But even that were possible, I would not forget you. See, I have written your name on the palms of my hands. Always in my mind is a picture of Jerusalem's walls in ruins. So this essentially says that God has written your name on the palm of his hands. Yeah? He knows your name. That means that he has predestined and planned your life with him, for you and him to have a relationship. And he wants you to have the relationship. Now, there is other parts in the Bible that says he doesn't come and force that in. It's you that have to instigate the relationship. It's you that relationship has to work out from. You have to begin that, oh Lord, will you help me? Like David did in the cave. And if you can, then your name almost lights up on his hand. And he's like, Jason, I know him. I want to help him. And he comes into your life and he starts helping you. You basically start putting the mechanic back into the equation and he starts fixing your life. Like me, when I first came to Christ, my life was completely in pieces. I didn't know what day of the week it was. I couldn't figure out how to get through life. I had a lot of storms, a lot of problems. In fact, I look at us as a country and I'm remembering a lot of how my life when I became a Christian began, because I had a lot of bad debt. I had a lot of things going on. And then I just said to God, all right, you take this place. I had nothing left. I had no way out, right? And I just said, God, you take the place and I'll follow you. And then he just comes in and starts fixing things. Now, also, I've been thinking about this. The Bible is more contagious than the coronavirus. It is. Here's why. The coronavirus gives us fear, it gives us suffering, it gives us heartache, and it gives us pain, right? Well, the Bible does these things. It gives us hope, it gives us a future, it gives us love, and it gives us security. It tells us all those things. So if fear, pain, and heartache catches on very quickly and ravishes the country like the way it does, well, the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is the complete opposite, it's love, hope, security, is more contagious than the coronavirus. It's just, you will have to be willing to listen. You will have to be willing to put it where God wants you to put it. So this is why my message this week is stay alert. Because if you are alert, you will realize quite quickly that the gospel of Jesus Christ is more contagious than the coronavirus. That there is more hope, there is more love, and there is more grace than the coronavirus. In fact, if you really took hold of this and you really took this message and you really started a relationship with Jesus, you could pray for your own family. And if they are sick, they will get well. You will see people that are on their deathbeds become well. We've had someone in our own church where he had a friend dying from cancer and he just started praying for this person. He told her about this gospel and she accepted it and she got well. In fact, she got so well that she walked out of hospital completely, well, not completely fine, but fine enough to go home. And this is the thing. We're facing a virus that is bringing death, destruction, and fear. Well, the Bible is the complete opposite. It doesn't bring death, it brings life. It brings hope, it brings love, and it brings a future. So therefore, if you grasp that, and you grasp that relationship, and you put God where the mechanic is meant to be in the story that I told today, well, then you will have a relationship like this. Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, leading me to a glorious destiny. Whom have I in heaven but you? I desire you more than anything on earth. You have a relationship with the Father where his name, your name, is written on his hand. He then gets his right hand and leads you through life, right? He leads you through life. Like in this picture, how this man is leading this boy. So that's obviously the boy's father. This man knows the journey because it's a path well trodden. It's a path well walked. And he knows the way. And all the boy has to do is hold on to this man's right hand and be led. And that's it. remove all these other things, remove the band-aids, take them all off, and put the right thing in its place. Put God the Father in that place. And I will guarantee, right? I will guarantee that your life will change like that. You will start to look at life a lot different. You'll start to see life for what it is. The grace, the love, and the kindness of God. You will start to be able to walk these paths and be able to come to a relationship with God where you're guided through these storms. And so you can then stay alert for hope. And then you can go and tell others about how your life has changed. Because here's the thing, if God did it with my life, he will do it with your life. I was depressed, I was anxious, I was trodden, I was cast out. But I did that. I didn't know God, and I was the mechanic. I was trying to run my life my own way. It was only when I replaced myself with the mechanic did I then get to know Christ. Did I then have my life turn completely around? And that's the hope for all of this, because this thing will continue for a while. Boris Johnson said this is going to go on till about July. Yeah, we're going to be like this till July. So my question to you is, what are you going to do in that time? How are you going to deal with these feelings of anxiety, depression, feeling left out, feeling alone? How are you going to deal with those? And that's a tough question to answer. It's not easy. But that was a question that I was presented with by my situation 10 years ago. And what I did was I followed this path, and I've been following it every day. Every day I open this Bible and I read it. And just before I open it, I say the following words: Father, will you speak to me today? And he does every day. And that's why I mention the Bible so much. That's why I mention it like the manual of life, because it is. It will get you through the hardest of times. It will get you through the darkest of storms. It will get you through the darkest of nights. It will lift your anxiety. It will heal you and your family. And it will drive this fear away. Now imagine this. Imagine if everybody did this. Imagine if the Bible, like I said, is more contagious than the coronavirus. Imagine if everybody caught this love, this hope, and this purpose. What a different country we would have. We would have a country that is so just, so peaceful, and so loving to one another. We would have a country where greed is not the thing. We'd have a country where people with lots of money would give it away to help everybody else, because that's what happens in this. You see it all over Acts, where they go and start to build the church and people start selling all their land to just help other people. They give up everything to do this. Imagine a country like that. But all I want you to do today is put God in his rightful place, okay? I want you to put the mechanic where he is deserved, because I know there's some people watching this today where you've been going through this life and you've been going through a long time. Perhaps you're around 40, 45 now, and you've got to the point where your kids have grown up and they're starting to live their own lives, and you're wondering, where is my place in all of this? Where's my purpose in all of this? And I'm now asking you, try something new. Come on a new journey, right? Come on a new journey with Jesus. Put God in his rightful place. Now you might be asking, how do I do that, Jason? How do I take up this opportunity to do that? Well, let me tell you. Repeat this prayer after me. Father God, Will you help me today? Will you rid me of all my sins and my debts? Will you come into my life? Lord, I am sorry for the things I have done. Please come into my life and lead me down this path, like in this picture, this man and this boy, and be with me today. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, if you prayed that prayer today, maybe it was a bit quick, but you tried, and that's fine. I want to hear from you. In fact, I'd love for you to do two things, because I said something similar yesterday on my bike ride, and someone gave their life to Christ. And it's been great. Their life is already starting to change. Their journey has just begun. They get to walk hand in hand down this path. And if you have prayed that prayer today, I'd love you to email me, pastorjason@recchurch.co.uk, because I've got a gift for you that I'd love to send you. And are you able to join our Facebook group so that you can have this community and begin this journey together? Because the church is a community of people. It always has meant to be. It's not about buildings. It's not about the size of buildings. It's about people coming together with hope, love, and purpose. And I just ask, if you're able to join this group today, you will find those things in this group and this church. And I just want to thank you for listening today. And I want to thank you for coming along. And it's been a pleasure to talk to you. And maybe some of this has sounded quite harsh, but please take it from a point of view of love, because I see what's going on in this world and I see people getting hurt. And I'm just trying to be like the brother, the dad, maybe to some of you, the uncle, to just try and help you through this time. Because I know that there is one fix to this, and it's Jesus. Nothing else will do. Nothing else is going to do those band-aids. Those are just band-aids. They don't heal the problem. Jesus does. Now, if you're able to comment and say hello, that'd be great. I'm just going to finish off my tea. And yeah, happy Sunday. Did anybody find that encouraging? I'd love to hear it if you did. Because essentially I had a whole sermon planned, and I went with what I read this morning, which was this psalm, and it all just changed. In fact, I wanted to read some of it out. So let me just read what I read this morning, because it really reminded me of how a relationship with God works, right? And it says this: "Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, leading me to a glorious destiny. Whom have I in heaven but you? I desire you more than anything on earth. My health may fail and my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever." And then it goes on to say, "But as for me, how good it is to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my shelter, and I will tell everyone about the wonderful things you do." And I just find that in my life and how it's been, those words are so true. It's the exact experience that I've had. And I can't help but talk about it, because I've been given the biggest gift that man has ever had, and that's love. Love beyond understanding, love beyond boundaries, love beyond race. And that's the thing. Human love doesn't do that. Godly love does. Human love has boundaries. Godly love doesn't. And ever since I walked into the church many years ago, I was a broken boy. I walked in and my life was in absolute pieces. And God grabbed hold of me and he sorted my life out. I was not deserving of that. I'd got to a point in life where it was just so messed up. And I remember standing in that church, and it was in a theatre of all places. And I remember standing there and just asking God, can you come and help me? And he did. I went home that night. I hadn't slept for weeks. I was taking sleeping pills and they weren't even working. I tried to commit suicide 4 weeks before. I was in such a depressive state. I got into a place of so much debt that I didn't know how I was going to pay it off. I thought my life was over. I was 22 years of age. And then this happened, and I walked into this church and I heard this woman give a preach, a sermon similar to today, how you've heard it today. And now 31 I am. I think that's 9 years. Let me do the maths. 31 minus 22. Yeah, 9 years. 9 years I've been walking with the Lord. And I read this morning, and it's exactly as it's written. It hasn't been any different. Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. I asked the question, in your life, who's stuck around for 9 years holding your hand? And then it says, you guide me with your counsel, leading me to a glorious destiny. In 9 years of your life, who's guided you and given you counsel to lead you to a better destiny? Who's done that? I haven't had that. And then it says, my health may fail, my spirit may grow weak, but God remains the strength of my heart. He is mine forever. The other thing is, I had this coronavirus about 2 months ago, and it does that. It brings your health down, and it tries to dampen your spirits. Well, it does dampen your spirits. Yet in all of it, even when the ambulance was called because I couldn't breathe anymore, I still felt God as my strength in my own heart. I even said that morning, if this is my lot, I'm ready. Because that's the foundation that I stand on. And it's not a foundation for me to be selfish about. It's not a foundation for me not to give away. It's a foundation that I want everybody to stand on. I'm not greedy. I want you to have the exact same experience that I have had, but in your own way, in your own life. I want you to feel your life better. I want your life to get better. I know there's people listening today where your life is in total and utter darkness. And you're wondering what on earth is going to happen when I come out of this lockdown. When everybody else seems like their life's together and they're rushing around with their families. And your kids have grown old enough that they're going to leave home probably after this lockdown. And you're probably sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? Well, begin this journey. It's a great one. It's a journey that started, I was in London. I lived there for a couple of years. I went there lost and I stayed there for even longer. And I just had so much fun. I met loads of new friends. And I was at church a lot because I enjoyed being there. And then God took me to Australia. And no way had I ever planned that. I wasn't a person to just pack up my things and go the other side of the world. I was a person that I wanted security. I wanted a job. And now I do this. Pastor of a church, running a food bank, helping people. I was a person where I was selfish and wanted to get as much money as possible. have a big car, have a big house, have 2 big cars, have a massive family, live somewhere in Essex with a swimming pool. That's what I wanted. And then this happened. And I just decided that I'm just going to do this. I'm going to follow this, because things in life started working out. With the debt, people started giving me envelopes with money in it and saying, God, I feel like God is telling me to give you this amount. Over the course of about 8-9 months, the debt was paid. I had a friend of mine. Well, I made friends with a guy I didn't even know, but he was great at managing money. I'd never budgeted in my life. He taught me how to budget. I went to Australia. I still hadn't quite figured out how this budgeting works. My roommate moves in and he teaches me how to budget. And it's those little things that God will do in your life. It's not so massive that you feel that you've lost control of your life. No way. He's like a father to you. He will guide you, but so subliminally that you'll notice and you'll know it's him, but he doesn't come in and take over your life. He doesn't do that. And it's those sorts of things. He's always there to make sure that you're cared for, you're comforted. And this is why I keep going on about this in this time. Like you all, I sat and listened to Boris Johnson last Sunday evening. I was kind of hoping that we might go back to a little bit of normality. But, we didn't. But because of what I believe with this Bible and my experience in life and how God has been with me, it's great. And I get to still have hope in the mornings. I get to still wake up. And I have the security that this is built on. So I'd love to hear from you. If you're able to comment, it'll be great. What's been your experience in this lockdown? What's been going on? Hi, Sarah Bailey. Lovely for you to drop by. Thanks, Steve Budd. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks, Daniel. Hi, how are you? Hi, Alan. I do miss you at the food bank. Yeah. Is there anybody else that's about? Say hello. Nice to hear from you. Be great to hear from you. Please post in the comments. If you're able to join the Facebook group, that link's going along the bottom. It'd be great to hear from you. If you're just joining, it's kind of the best bit's over. You can scroll back and listen through it all again. But yeah, say hello. Oh, thanks, Sarah. It's lovely to hear. I'm glad that I've inspired you. Be great if you join the Facebook group. That'll be cool. Be great to get to know you a bit more. Yeah, that'd be great. Anybody else? Anybody else? My back is killing from yesterday's bike ride. My legs are killing, but I'll be all right. It'll keep me going. God is my strength. I've also been learning the guitar. I didn't want to make that public news actually, but I have. I'm hoping that I can surprise the congregation with a song at some point soon. Kind of here, look. One other thing. Go look up Hillsong Worship, right? Even if you don't believe in Jesus, go and listen to their songs, and that will also help you to understand. That will help you to understand kind of what all this is about. If you go look up Hillsong Worship, you can YouTube it. They're on Spotify, easy to find. And there's a song called on there that goes, that's like called "Who Am I?" It goes, "Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but you drawn me in. You would die for me." Now, look, I can't sing that great. They sing it a lot better than me. But it's such a beautiful song. And when I was reading this verse, that's kind of like what was going through my mind. That song, that who am I that a king would welcome me? The guy that designed this whole earth, everything in it, would welcome me and would welcome you. And that's the love of God. It's called agape love, and I'll speak about that more in some coming weeks, about the love of God and what that means. Isaiah 40:31. This has seen me through many hard times. Thanks, Marjorie. Glad you've managed to join us just at the end. Thanks for coming in. Marjorie helps at our food bank. She is amazing. Okay, she's a legend. And she does so much for us. And the food bank volunteers, actually, they're just amazing. They're great. I love them. Yeah, so they do a lot. They're always doing something every day with the food bank. And it's great. It really helps. And it helps to keep people fed. And that's kind of like why I did the bike ride yesterday. It was kind of for them, to try and help them get more money so we could keep going. And yeah, it'd be great. I love them. Okay. If anybody else wants to say hi, please do in the next 2 minutes. Otherwise, I'm off. I'm going to go and do something else for a bit. And I have a Zoom call at 4:00 this afternoon if you want to join. Let me get that ID, actually. If you want to join our Zoom call, it'll be great to have you. Come and meet some of the people in the church. Hold on a minute. Don't be shy. They're not going to bite. They're great people. I love them. Yeah, they got hearts of gold, all of them. Hold on a minute. Let's do this. Here, this is the Zoom ID for the Zoom call at 4:00. So if you want to come and join that, you can come and just have your video off. That's fine. It really doesn't bother us. If you just want to come and sit and speak, or even just sit and observe, that's fine. There's a Zoom call. It's all about community, guys. It's all about, getting out of this loneliness feeling that a lot of us are feeling. So if you're able at 4:00, or if you're free at 4, come along to the Zoom call. You've only got to download the app. Zoom.us is the website, but you can go on the app stores on both Android and iPhone and Mac and PC, and just put Zoom conferencing in, and then put that number in. You don't have to make a Zoom account. You can just put that number in and come and join us at 4:00. Oh yeah, hi Colette. Actually, I'll just give you my normal email, jasoncontent@recchurch.co.uk. There you go. That's my email. I do have one that says Pastor Jason, but just email that. It all goes to the same place, my inbox. I'd love to hear from you, Colette. Yeah, it'd be great to hear from you, hear your story. Anybody else wishes to drop me an email, please do. My door is always open, as I say to everybody. I'm a person that, if you've not noticed, I love talking, and I enjoy talking to people. I'm actually struggling a little bit with this lockdown in the way of not being able to talk to people and have community. I enjoy going to the food bank on a Friday because that kind of brings that in a bit. But also, I just love hearing from people. I love hearing people's stories, what they're doing, how they're being affected, positively, perhaps through these talks on a Sunday morning. So please do drop me an email, or even better, come and join the Zoom call at 4:00 this afternoon. All right, well, I'm off, and I will see you all next week.